Sir, your mic is muted.
Okay, so welcome all. Welcome to this lecture of Programming 1. Today we'll continue with Unit 6. We have already seen exception handling and abstract classes. Today let's see interfaces. Let me show the disclaimer. Okay, so in this we have already seen exception handling and abstract classes, and now we'll be seeing interfaces today. So see, interface, basically what is an interface and why it is used. Okay, so before we see what is it, let me show you that in Java, multiple inheritance is not allowed. Okay. Multiple inheritance is not allowed. What is multiple inheritance? It is something like this: when you have a class like A, then B, this class A, this class B, okay, and now you want to inherit from both of these classes. This thing is not allowed. Okay, multiple inheritance is not allowed. So for that you have what? Interfaces as a workaround. Okay. Now what is an interface? The interface is a class-like construct, okay, that contains only constants and abstract methods. What does it have? Only constants. Variables are there, but only as constants, not as simple variables. And abstract methods. Methods that do not have implementations or empty bodies. Not even empty bodies actually. Methods without body. Okay. So what happens is, interface is similar to an abstract class, but its intent is to specify common behavior for objects of related classes or maybe unrelated classes. It specifies some common behavior. Right? For example, using appropriate interfaces, we can specify that some objects are comparable, some objects are edible, some objects are clonable, right? So whenever this able things, able word comes right in the end of a word, to assume that it's an interface. Most probably it is always an interface. So see, how is it declared? It is like using the modifier, then the keyword interface, and then the interface name. The same way we declare class like this. First the modifier, yes, then comes the class name, the class keyword, and then actual class name, right? But here also, so here also in the same way we have modifier, interface keyword, and interface name. And inside it, what do we have? Constant declarations, no simple variables, only constants, and abstract method signatures. Yes, only signatures, that is only declarations, no definitions at all. So interfaces are like this. This is an example that public interface edible, and it has an abstract method how to eat. which returns a string value. Okay. Now see, interface is basically treated like a special class. Okay. And each interface is compiled into a separate bytecode file, like a regular class. Okay. So see, if you make this interface file, then it will generate interface class. Now what you can do is you can inherit from this interface class. And now see, this is an example of a workaround. Workaround means kind of solution or a kind of jugaad. Okay, a workaround for, what is this? A workaround for multiple inheritance. Okay, interface works as a workaround for multiple inheritance. So check this out. See, there is an animal class, okay, which is very general class. Then we have a tiger class which inherits. Tiger class is there which inherits from the animal class. Okay, and we also have another class called chicken, which inherits from the animal class. But if you see, chicken can also inherit from this edible interface, which represents that a chicken animal is edible, so it's eatable. And fruit is also edible. And see, this is the notation, okay? This is the notation how you represent, how to implement interface. When we are implementing, when we are extending a class, this animal is a class, tiger is a class. So when a class is a class like this, subclass is extending another superclass, the notation we give is this rectangle, hollow rectangle with a what? With a dark line. But if we are giving an example where an interface is being implemented by a class, then it is represented by same kind of hollow triangle and dotted lines. These dotted lines represent what? That the interface is being implemented by this classes. Interface is being implemented by this classes. Okay. So this is how we use interface. And now see, now these two are the classes which are implementing interface edible, and there are subclasses also, like orange, apple are subclasses of fruit class. There can be subclass of chicken also. Okay. So how do we do it? Check this out. This is how it is. Interface keyword and the interface name. Then we put one abstract method. Public abstract, it returns string. Name of the method is how to eat. And see, it does not have a body. Here, only the declaration is there. Only the method signature is declared. There is no body. When you say semicolon, it means there is no body for this method. So that method by default should become abstract. That method should be declared as an abstract if you do something like this. Okay. Now, we also have an abstract class called animal, which has got a method called sound, which is also public abstract, returns some string, and the name is sound. Now see, we can implement what? We can implement both these things. So we can extend from animal class. We can say class chicken extends from animal class and implements the edible interface. So we cannot say chicken is an instance of edible class. No, Edible is an interface. So we can say, but we can easily say that chicken is an object. Chicken is obviously an instance that can be pointed by the edible reference variable. Okay. So see, this is how we say. This is how we implement the interface by saying that class chicken implements edible. If we don't use this extends animal, that's fine. But right now we want to extend from animal also. We want to inherit the animal class also. So we say chicken extends animal and it implements edible. Okay. And inside this animal, what do? We implement or we provide definitions for these method declarations. One method was declared inside the interface, another was inside abstract class. So here we provide the body for both the methods. You can see. So if we say for class chicken, if how to eat is the method, then it returns a string called chicken fried. And if it's a sound method, then we say return chick cockatible 2. That's what is the chicken says. Okay. So we are implementing two methods. How to eat comes from where? It comes from the interface. And from where does this sound method come? It comes from an abstract class. Okay. We are implementing. So now since we are implementing this abstract method of this abstract class animal, right? This class chicken does not need to be declared as abstract. If we would have implemented this, if we would have extended this animal, if we would have extended this animal class, which is abstract, and we would not implement this sound method, we would not provide an implementation of this sound method, then what would happen? Then the compiler would see that animal class is abstract because it has got an abstract method called sound. Okay, and if this chicken class is extending animal and it is not implementing it, then it should also become abstract class. Okay. If chicken class does not provide an implementation for the sound method, which is abstract in animal class, then since the chicken class is the subclass of animal class, it also becomes an abstract class. But that's not the case over here. Here we are providing the implementation of the sound, which is abstract method in animal class, and how to eat method, which is an abstract method in edible interface, not a class. Got the point? Now, if you say that a class tiger extends animal, you see it will get only one method, which it will have to implement only this one method, this sound method. It does not need to implement this how to eat method. Got the point? Similarly, there can be abstract classes like fruit, which implements edible. But this is an abstract class. So if it does not provide an implementation for this method, then it's okay, because it's already an abstract class. Got the point? So if you don't implement a method that you inherit from, that is an abstract method which you inherit from the parent class, then your child class also becomes abstract. That's the rule. Okay. And the same rule applies to interfaces. If you don't provide implementation of this abstract method of the interface, then your child or your interface implementing class will become an abstract class. It's as simple as that. Okay. The only difference between interface and abstract is this abstract class can have also concrete methods, which this interface cannot have. An abstract class can have variables, which this interface cannot have. Okay. Now see, there are other examples given for the same thing. This is abstract class, which has got an abstract method sound, which is implemented by this chicken class. Then there is this edible interface, which has got abstract method how to eat, which is implemented by this chicken class. And there is this fruit. Now see, how do you determine that a class is basically abstract or not in this diagram? So check this out. See, this interface is written in italics. Animal is written in italics. So the name, if it is written in italics, it is abstract. An interface is by default abstract because it does not have any implementation. Fruit is abstract because it is written in italics. Orange and apple are solid classes, concrete classes, because these are not written in abstract, in italics, right? Chicken is also a concrete class, not written in italics. Tiger and concrete class, not written in italics. So we have 4 classes: tiger, chicken, apple, and orange. So here these are. What? Here these are. Which one are these? Chicken class is there, tiger class is there, and apple class is there, and orange class is there. Okay. Now see, since this apple is extending fruit and orange is also extending fruit, and check this out. If we take this hierarchy, we will come to know that this edible interface provides what? A method called how to eat. Okay. So if you are implementing it, you need to provide this method implementation. If not, then that class becomes abstract. So fruit class does not provide implementation on how to eat. You cannot say how to eat a particular fruit, but you can say how to eat a specific fruit like orange, like apple. You cannot say how to eat all fruits. You can eat all fruits in the similar manner? No, right? So you cannot say how to eat is common for all eating all fruits. No, that's not common. That is specific for each fruits. So here in this fruit class, we don't provide implementation of this method. So by default, this fruit class becomes abstract. So you can see this fruit class implements edible, but it does not provide the method, so it becomes abstract. It needs to be declared as abstract. Okay, and similarly, since fruit is abstract, it does not provide the implementation of this how to eat. So whichever class inherits from it, like orange and apple, they need to implement this method, which is being inherited from this level. You see, from this level it is being inherited. So this apple class and orange class needs to provide an implementation of this method. If they don't provide, then they also become what? They also become abstract classes. But no, that's not the case. They provide the implementation like this: public string how to eat, and they return some string. Apple make apple cider, and here orange make orange juice. As simple as that. And now see what we do. Now you can see the now you can see multiple uses of various concepts over here in this test edible class. Check this out, very important and very easy to learn if you know the basics properly. So see here what we are doing, we are creating an array of objects. Okay. In this array of objects, what are we directly putting? We are putting a tiger object, a chicken object, and an apple object. Okay. We are not putting an orange object right now. We are just putting only three objects. One is the tiger object, another is chicken object, and the third one is apple object. Now see, since this is an array of objects, okay, how do we access its elements? Check this out. We use the for loop. We start from I equal to 0 to the length of the object's array. And now, for each ith object, what do we check? We check whether it's an instance of an edible interface or not. So see, this is how we can make use of instance of. We can also use instance of with not only with classes but also with interfaces. You can check that this object, ith object, is it an instance of edible? Then what do you do? Then you first take that and cast that into an edible object. Okay, because this is a simple object, so you need to cast it into an edible object. Once you cast it, then only you will be able to invoke its how to it method. So the how to it method is invoked and that will be printed out. Whatever is returned by this how to it will be printed out. So for first object tiger, it will be what? For the first object tiger, it would be okay. So tiger is not edible. It extends animal, but it does not implement edible. So obviously, this one is not true for the first object tiger. This one is this if does not execute for first object tiger. As simple as that. But the second if executes. Why? Because it's that object I, that is this tiger, is an instance of animal. That's correct. This is correct. So it does what? It casts that object into animal and then calls it sound method. Okay. Similarly, now the I goes from 0 to 1. So the next object is chicken object. So what do we take? We take whether it's an instance of edible. Yes. Chicken class implements edible. So what we can do is we can cast it into an edible object and then we can run its how to it method. As simple as that. We can call its how to it method on that casted object. And this is also correct. Both the if values are correct for chicken object because it is also an instance of animal class. So we cast it into an animal object and then we call its sound method. Got the point? And then so in the next iteration, apple object comes. So is that object instance of edible? Yes, apple object is instance of edible. So it will be cast into and it will be cast into an edible object and then how to it method will be invoked. But is it an instance of animal? No, that is not an instance of animal. Understand? So this if will not get executed. Only a single if gets executed, second if does not get executed. Got the point? Yes. Now tell me which if would get executed if I make some object like array like this. Objects array of object is equal to what? New orange, then new apple, and then new tiger. Yes. Tell me, which if would get executed for all these three one by one? Which would get executed? Yes. Orange, apple, and tiger. So see, when the for loop evaluates, The first is orange, which is edible. So this if works, but it's not an instance of animal. So this if does not work. Only one if works for orange. Similar thing happens for apple because it is edible and it is not an object of animal, but it's an instance of edible. And for the last tiger, what happens for the last tiger? This if does not work because that's not edible. Instead, this if works. And now suppose if we put one more object to this, suppose if we put one more object to this, like I say comma, and one more new object is put over here saying new chicken, and then this ends. What happens when the control comes to this chicken, right? Both will run, both if statements will run, because chicken is also edible and also an animal. Okay, so it's an edible animal, as simple as that. Understand the point how we use interfaces? Yes, interfaces need to be implemented. Abstract classes need to be extended. Concrete classes also need to be extended. Interfaces have public abstract methods. Abstract methods inside a class make a class abstract. Even if there is one abstract method inside a class, that class would become abstract. So whenever we extend an abstract class, we need to implement its abstract method and make it concrete method. And whenever we implement an interface, we need to implement its abstract method and make it concrete. Otherwise, the class would become abstract, like this. Fruit implements edible, but it does not provide any implementation. So it is abstract, as simple as that. Okay. Similarly, apple extends fruit, so it implements how to it. Orange extends fruit, so it implements how to it. Okay. Now there is something called as comparable interface. Okay. Okay, let me just see before we go to this next. Do we have any other doubts related to this? The doubt is new is treated as a keyword there. Where, Harshit, you are asking in just a minute, in test edible. Okay. Okay, you mean to say over here in this? Yes. Yes, Harshit, you mean to say it in this? Here, new, we have used new 3 times. Is it so? You're asking over there? Okay. So see here what happens. Here we are simply creating an object of tiger. And now if you see where it is being put, it is put in the curly braces. So it is something equivalent to like this. If you have an integer array, you can declare it like this. This is an integer array, so you can declare it like this. And you can also initialize it like this. 10, 20, 30, 40, like this. So here what we are doing, here we are declaring an array, also populating it, right? Got the point? We are also initializing the array with the values. Here what we are doing, here we are declaring the object arrays. And how do we declare object, how do we create objects? Obviously using new keyword. We cannot create objects without the new keyword, right? We create one object, new tiger, put it into the first location, then we separate it by comma, and then we put another object by saying new chicken. So see, this new tiger, this will return a reference. That reference itself is put as the first element of this object array. Then we have this new chicken, which again creates a reference, which will be put as put as a reference variable over here. And we also have a apple object. So that after apple object, this new apple will also return. So these three references would be returned over here. Remember, the new this thing returns what? This returns the references. These all are nothing but the references being returned. Okay. So that's the difference, you know. This is how we can use a new operator also. This is one new way that you have seen how to use the new operator, right? Don't get confused. See, when we say something like this, tiger t is equal to new tiger, what we are doing is this new tiger generates an object and also generates a reference variable. So that reference value is given to this t, which basically points to this tiger. This tiger object itself is not given to this t, because t will not have that much space also, right? This object is stored on heap, and this variable is stored on stack. Got the point? So the reference variable value which points to the object on the heap is given to this t reference variable. So same thing is happening. You are putting here what? When you say new tiger, you are putting here a reference variable value. Not the object, you are not putting the actual object, but you are putting the reference variable value that points to a new tiger object. Similarly, to a chicken object and to an apple object. Okay. So this is how you create the object array. Okay. Now, what is comparable interface? Comparable interface basically defines a compare to method, okay, that we can implement. Suppose we want to design a generic method to find larger of two objects, right, in the of the same type. Then the objects would be of same type, okay, such as let's say two students, or two dates, or two circle objects, or two rectangles, or two squares. Right. Suppose you want to design a generic method like this, which would compare two objects. Okay. So in order to accomplish this, the two objects must be comparable. That is, both of them should be of the same type, and there should be some common behavior for the objects that must be comparable. Right. So this is how we implement the comparable interface. Check this out. We say public interface comparable. And this comparable interface has a compare to method, which will take an object of some e type. What is this e type? This is the generic type. Any type can be put over here. Okay, this is generic type. So this comparable interface is a generic interface which can be made for any particular class. This e, any class name can be passed over here for as an e. So you can, there are many classes in Java library that implement comparable to define a natural order of the objects, so that they can be sorted or they can be having a natural order. Okay, so byte, short, integer, long, these all wrapper classes all implement the comparable interface, even the date and string. Okay, calendar, big decimal, big integer, all of this. Right? All these classes implement comparable interface. Okay, it's like this. Say public class integer extends number. It implements comparable, comparing integer only, not any other thing. And if it is implementing comparables, then it has to override this compare to method of this comparable interface, where it has to take an integer variable and it has to compare to itself, and it will return int. Right. So this int would be what? This int would represent either negative value or positive value or 0. Okay. So we'll see what is that. Now see, there is this big integer class which also extends number, and it implements comparable big integer, and since it implements, it has to implement the compare to method, which can compare another big integer object with the calling object, the object which calls this compare to method. So check this out. When we say new integer 3 compare to new integer 5, what would we get? We get -1, right? Because 3 is not equivalent to 5, but it is in fact smaller than 5. Okay, 3 is smaller than 5. Similarly, you say system.out.println abc.compare to abe, a string getting compared to another string. It returns -2. How much small is a calling string? This string is how much it is smaller than this particular string. Okay. Similarly, you have due dates. Check this out. Date 1 and date 2. Date 1 is basically 1/1/2013 and date 2 is 1/1/2012. Now you are saying date 1 dot compare to date 2, so you get positive value 1. Why? Because date 1 is more greater than date 2. Greater than means it is latest. So date 1 is of 2013, date 2 is of 2012. So obviously 2013 is more latest than 2012. So date 1 is greater than date 2, so that's why it returns +1. If both objects would be same, then it would return 0. Okay. So see, when does it return what? Compare to method determines the order of the object with a specified object O and returns. So it determines an order, a specific order, natural order, and returns negative integer 0 or positive integer if, so see, check this out. Negative for what? Negative if the object is less than the object O. Okay. Similarly, 0 is returned if it is equal to object O, and positive integer is returned if it is greater than object O. Okay. So that is a simple comparable use of comparable interface and compare to method. Okay. Now see, what if you want to implement specific compare to method? Okay, for a specific class. For example, we say public class comparable rectangle extends rectangle. Okay, and it implements comparable rectangle. So since it implements this comparable rectangle, see, it has got this compare to method which can compare another same type of object, comparable rectangle object only. And what does it compare? Check this out. It checks that if get the area of the current calling object, the object that calls is compared to, if the area of that object is greater than the area of the past object O, then we return 1. Otherwise, if it is smaller, then we return -1. Otherwise, we return 0. It means both the area are same. As simple as that. Right? Then we also have this toString method where we display the super toString and area of this particular particular object. Okay. So that is how you implement the comparable interface. Okay. That is how you implement comparable interface. Okay. Uh, Now if you see, let me again the screen. Now if you see, next comes clonable interface. So what does this clonable interface do? Clonable interface specifies that an object can be cloned. Okay, and copy of that object can be created. And often it is desirable to create a copy of an object. You know, at many places you might require classes whose objects can copy itself. Okay. So in order to do this, you need the clone method and also understand the clonable interface. Basically, interface contains constants and abstract methods, but the clonable interface is a special case. Okay, it's a special case. The interface is empty. Normally, all the interfaces have either some abstract method or some constant, but this is a special case where the interface itself is empty. Okay, so this is called as a marker interface. An interface with an empty body, is called as a marker interface. What does the marker interface do? Basically, this interface does not contain constants or methods, but in fact it is used to denote that a class possesses certain desirable properties. Wherever you implement this clonable interface, right, we assume that that particular class can be cloned. How? That depends on its clone method. So there is a clone method. Objects can be used using clone method, which is defined inside the object class. So see, the clone method is there, but it is already defined inside the object class. So it is already, we know that every class is a subclass of object class. So by default, this clone method would be there in every class. So that's why we don't need to provide it in over here. But if we want to clone it properly, then we need to implement this clone method in our own way. Check this out. This is a ready-made clone method that we are using. We are declaring an array list of double type. We say new array list. We add 3 double variables, and then we generate second list out of it by simply saying list.clone, cast it into an array list of double type, and that's it. This list2 points to the same type of list, as simple as that. List1 is also pointing to same kind of list, okay, and list2 also gets started pointing to that same type of list, not that same list, but that same type of different list, because it's a new clone. Okay, it's a new clone. Now there are some differences between abstract classes and interfaces. What are those? Check this out. If it's an interface, and if it's an abstract class, what's the difference? Interface basically are implicitly abstract and cannot have implementations, whereas abstract class can have instance methods which are concrete, okay, and have implement some default behavior, but we cannot instantiate the object of that. We cannot use that method directly from an object of abstract class. Variables declared in Java interface are by default final, whereas an abstract class may contain non-final variables. Then, so if you declare something like this, interface I or ABC, and you declare int I. Okay, so this int I by default becomes public static and final. Okay, all by default becomes public static final. Whereas abstract class can contain non-final variables. There is no issue in that. Members of Java interface are public by default, and whereas members of Java abstract class can be, private, protected, or default or anything. Whereas here, all of them are public. Since interface does not have its own code, who will access it? Obviously, the other classes would access it, right? Other classes would access its methods and constants, final variables. So we have to make it public. Interface should be implemented using implements keyword, whereas abstract class needs an extends keyword. Interface can extend another Java interface, and abstract class can extend another Java class and implement multiple Java interfaces also. Okay. Interface is absolutely abstract and cannot be instantiated at all, whereas an abstract class cannot be instantiated, but it can be invoked if main exists. Remember this thing, it can be invoked if main exists. Okay. And Java interfaces are slow as it requires extra indirection, whereas abstract classes are comparatively fast. So that is about difference between interface and abstract. Okay. So let's call it the end of the day over here, and we'll stop this session. If at all end out, please do let me know. Okay. We learned about abstract interfaces and clonable, and we saw which interfaces, clonable and comparable. These two examples also we saw. Okay, so let me stop the recording. Okay, Arshad is asking how abstract class can be invoked in main. So I would suggest you, Arshad, you try it out. What you make is you make an abstract class. For making that abstract class, you make one of the method as abstract and second method as non-abstract. Okay, and inside main, you try to call that non-abstract method. Both of them should be static. Okay, try this out and do tell me whether you are able to do it or not. Okay, fine, great. Okay, so I'll stop the recording. If at all any other doubt, please do let me know.